Part 59. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 581. At some point, giant strange creatures one after another swarmed outside the palace. Each of them is a Star-Lord level existence. Right now, there are at least dozens of them gathered. Moreover, the number is still increasing. Lu Yu suddenly couldn't imagine it anymore. How are you thinking about it? Yu Yu came over and looked at Lu Yu seriously. There's still half an hour left. If you don't leave, you will really die. Hearing this, Lu Yu fell silent. He looked at Ahashi Reiju and Xiao 11, and suddenly sighed. I choose. Chapter 0440 I choose to stay and dance on your grave. I choose. Yu Yu opened his eyes wide and looked at Lu Yu closely. What do you choose? He looked confused. Why does this guy stop talking even half of what he said? Looking at Yu Yu, Lu Yu patted him on the shoulder. I choose to stay. After Yu Yu was stunned and silent for 2 seconds, he couldn't help but roar. Are you a humming lunatic? I'm not crazy. Lu Yu spread his hands. But Yu Yu shook his head. No, 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 you are humming crazy, completely crazy. Are you sure you have thought it through? There will be at least 100 weird Star-Lord level creatures gathered outside. If you don't leave, you will definitely die. Yu Yu couldn't help but roared, attracting everyone's attention. Everyone noticed what he said and their eyes were filled with horror. What? Are there Star-Lord level weird creatures gathering outside? Seeing this, Yu Yu frowned and didn't worry too much. He lowered his voice slightly. Lu Yu, if you come with me, you will definitely get part of the inheritance of the gods. But if you stay here, you will definitely die. Those weird creatures are not something you can deal with. Seeing Yu Yu's serious expression, Lu Yu's expression didn't change. It's okay, I've thought about it. Are you sure? Sure. Okay, you are seeking death yourself, don't blame me. Yu Yu snorted and turned around with an unhappy look on his face. However, Lu Yu held him back. Take someone with you. What's the meaning? Yu Yu frowned. Lu Yu pulled the confused Ahashi Reiju over. Take her away. Reiku Ahashi? Lu Yu, what are you talking about? Lu Yu did not answer Daikiao Reiju's doubts, but just looked at Yu Yu. Yu Yu narrowed his eyes. What's the point of me taking such a weakling away? Who are you calling a weakling? I'm warning you, speak up. Ahashi Reiju immediately became unhappy. She stretched out her hand to pull Yu Yu, but Yu Yu blocked her attack with a casual blow. If you ask her to come with me, what will you do? I'll stay here and see if there's any chance. Lu Yu grabbed Xiao 11's hand. Send the bridge away for a long time, and stay here with Xiao 11. This is the best solution at present. Using his and Xiao 11's power to build the Giant of Light at the same time, at least he still has a glimmer of hope. Otherwise, if they leave by themselves and leave Ahashi Reiju and Xiao 11 behind, they will both surely die. As for another option, copy a black stone. It's not that Lu Yu didn't consider it, but gave up. If it were copied, Yu Yu would definitely be suspicious. The Gui Ling association behind him was too weird, and Lu Yu didn't want to show any signs of it. In addition, Yu Yu has already said it. Maximum of 2 places, if one more is available. Then the chief envoy must also be suspicious. After all, the reserved quantity is only 2 people, how could there be more black stones out of thin air? This road doesn't work either. Yu Yu sighed when he heard Lu Yu's words. Do you like this brother so much? Can't you live for me? I'm a man too. Aside from having bigger chest muscles than me, what other advantages does he have? Yu Yu looked unhappy. Lu Yu's eyelids twitched when he heard this. Ahashi Reiju even rubbed his hands and said angrily. What the hell are you talking about? Don't interrupt. Lu Yu was kicked away by Dakiao Leiju and looked at Yu Yu. Can you just say it's okay? Okay, okay, the question is what do, Yu Yu said expressionlessly. Lu Yu waved his hand, this is none of your business. Okay, this is your own decision. I hope you won't disappoint me, Feng Shu. Yu Yu said nothing more and slapped a black stone on Ahashireku's hand. Get it? As he spoke, he found a corner and squatted alone. Ahashireku looked at the black stone in his hand, his eyes a little blank. Lu Yu, what happened? Lu Yu was silent for a while, and finally decided to tell the news. In fact, even if he didn't say it, someone noticed that something was wrong. The area protected by the white light on the palace has become smaller and smaller. Outside, the black fog was gloomy, and huge black shadows flashed by from time to time. An invisible sense of crisis weighs on everyone's hearts. Lu Yu looked at everyone, and everyone also looked at him at this time. Everyone, I think it may be difficult for everyone to survive this time, Lu Yu said calmly. Everyone seemed to have been prepared when they heard this. The argument between Lu Yu and Yu Yu just now has revealed some information. Coupled with the changes in the space crack, everyone actually guessed something. Lu Yu, what's going on outside? Someone asked. Lu Yu shook his head. Outside, there are now hundreds of strange creatures of the Star-Lord level gathered. Lu Yu was telling the truth. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 582. The number of strange creatures gathered outside has reached over 100. And they were all irritable and restless. If this situation continues, I am afraid that in 10 minutes, when the protection of the white light disappears completely, they will launch an attack. When many geniuses heard Lu Yu's words, even though they had been prepared, their expressions could not help but change. Hundreds of Star-Lord level weird creatures. It's over, everyone is really going to die this time. Oh my god. Who can tell me what's going on? Many geniuses started discussing. Ahashireku looked at the black stone in his hand with disbelief. Lu Yu, can this thing escape? Yeah, Lu Yu nodded. Dakiao Leiju was surprised when he heard this, and then gave the black stone to Lu Yu. No, Yu Yu gave this to you. Take it and stop talking nonsense. Lu Yu stuffed the black stone back. After seeing this for a long time, Dakiao couldn't help but his eyes turned red and he choked with sobs. Lu Yu, you are so good to me. If you can come out alive, I will definitely. You are overthinking, I just don't want to see Xiao 11 die here. Ahashireku. It was a wrong payment after all. Ahashireku's eyes were a little sad. No matter what you say, Lu Yu, are you really sure you can survive? It should be, Lu Yu said. Hearing this, Daqiao Leiju still wanted to give the black stone to Lu Yu, but Lu Yu didn't even look at her. Just keep what I gave you. Why is there all this nonsense? Ahashireku. Lu Yu, you. Don't talk. Ahashireku. Wiping his eyes, Ahashireku finally said nothing. Lu Yu looked at the black mist getting closer and closer outside, and prepared for it. And everyone else stood behind Lu Yu. Lu Yu, we depend on you. A genius at the 5th level of Tianyuan looked at Lu Yu seriously. Later, thousands of geniuses were like this. Now, the only one I can rely on is probably Lu Yu. It's not like they haven't thought about grabbing those 2 black stones. But no one knows how this black stone is used. Besides, with Lu Yu here, even if you want to grab it, you can't. In this case, it is better to put hope on Lu Yu. Lu Yu wants to stay here, so he can't possibly find a way out for himself, right? Facing these looks, Lu Yu took a deep breath and nodded. Don't worry, everyone, I will try my best to take everyone away. Lu Yu's words rekindled the faith of many geniuses. No matter what, if you and others unite, there will be no chance. At this moment, the black mist finally spread through the palace. The white light inscriptions on the walls were cracking and dissipating. In an instant, the surroundings fell into darkness. The giant of light burst out with bright light at this moment, sweeping away the surrounding black mist in an instant. This time, all the geniuses really saw what they were going to face. Hundreds of Star-Lord level weird creatures. Yu stood up at some point and looked closely at Lu Yu. You still have a chance to regret it? Go away. Good. Yu didn't say anything and crushed the black stone. The next moment, a ball of light covered him, blurring his figure. Lu Yu, I'll wait for you outside. Don't let me down. After the words fell, Yu was taken away by the light and left in the broken void. Dakiaolai looked at Lu Yu for a long time with a look of reluctance. Lu Yu. Hey, it would be great if you couldn't speak. I'm so angry. If you don't come back, I'll dance on your grave every day. Ahashi Reiku also crushed the black stones and turned into light and shadow and left. Before leaving, I shed a tear. The two left, leaving only a solemn atmosphere in the palace. Xiao 11 stood next to Lu Yu, looking at the tall figures outside, and said to herself. There are so many, I feel like I can't beat them. In response, Lu Yu touched her head. You'll have to fight to find out. After the words fell, the ancient bronze sword was drawn out. Everyone, charge me. Chapter 0441 Burning Bloodline, is it the exit? Rush. The moment he roared out, Lu Yu controlled the giant of light and slashed out with his sword. Hidden God One Sword. In an instant, the sword light tore everything apart. Everything seemed to be torn apart, and the strange creature that was closest to it was cut into two halves. And nearby, other strange creatures were equally uncomfortable. The formation was torn apart by Lu Yu. Quick! Come with me. Lu Yu didn't have time to wipe out the black mist and immediately rushed forward. Seeing this, the other geniuses did not dare to hesitate at all and followed behind Lu Yu. Lu Yu deals with giants, and what they have to deal with are naturally other strange creatures. And what Lu Yu endured was naturally the greatest pressure. Because he had to get rid of the siege, Lu Yu had no time to refine the black mist. This also leads to a problem. With a sword in front of him, he chopped apart a strange Star-Lord level creature, and it was condensed out again the next moment. Repeatedly, the pressure on Lu Yu became more and more intense. Boom! Lu Yu slashed out with his sword again. This time, several strange Star-Lord level creatures collapsed. But in just a dozen seconds, they gathered again and continued to surround Lu Yu. Lu Yu's speed gradually slowed down. Lu Yu, are you okay? Xiao 11 looked at Lu Yu, who was panting, and said worriedly. Lu Yu shook his head. I'm fine, just try your best to infuse your strength. As he said that, Xiao 11's face turned a little paler. Strange creatures will not be consumed unless they are wiped out. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu. Chapter 583. But the light giant is not like this. No matter how strong the blood and chi are, it is impossible to keep them flowing. Moreover, even Lu Yu felt that his blood and chi were a little difficult to support in such a high-intensity confrontation. Looking at Xiao 11 like this, Lu Yu's brows gradually frowned. This is not a way to go on. We must think of a way. While fighting against the strange creatures, Lu Yu looked around. It seems that God will not let down those who work hard. Lu Yu really saw a safe place that was emitting white light. That's it? Lu Yu was slightly excited. Everyone follow, Lu Yu said. Behind him, thousands of geniuses had died, and only a few hundred people were left. One by one, they followed Lu Yu's footsteps in the bloody battle. Lu Yu controlled the light giant and immediately turned around and headed for the safe area in the distance. Although the speed was slow, it was indeed advancing slowly. According to Lu Yu's expectations, he should be able to reach it before his physical strength was exhausted. But before Lu Yu could feel relieved, the next moment, the black fog around him suddenly thinned. Dozens of strange creatures disintegrated for no reason. They turned into black fog and headed towards the same strange creature. The body of this strange creature swelled up immediately. One after another, hideous bone spurs grew rapidly from its body. Not only that, its size was also rising. In just a moment, the height exceeded 3,000 meters. Seeing this scene, everyone was desperate. It's over. It's really over this time. This kind of aura may have reached the middle stage of the Star Lord. It's dead. It took countless geniuses to collapse, and even Lu Yu himself didn't expect it. These strange creatures can actually be like this. Consume dozens of strange creatures to form a more powerful one. Lu Yu's heart sank to the bottom of the valley. This more powerful strange creature just blocked his way. Either a bloody battle or retreat. But where can you retreat? At this time, the giant strange creature that had completed the absorption had already focused its attention on Lu Yu. Roar! It burst into a silent roar, and the sound waves spread throughout the space, causing the void to deform. In just a moment, hundreds of geniuses could not bear it on the spot, and their heads exploded. Even if others were not dead, they fell to the ground, screaming and struggling. Xiao 11 covered her ears with a painful expression. It hurts so much. Seeing this scene, Lu Yu sighed softly. System, is there any way to break the situation? The way to break the situation is in the hands of the host. What do you mean? The system did not answer, which made Lu Yu very crazy. Subconsciously touching his ears, Lu Yu found that his ears were also bleeding. Looking back, there were only more than 100 geniuses left out of the thousands of geniuses. And seeing that, these hundreds of people might not survive. Don't tell me it's really a group annihilation ending? Ending flowers? No. Absolutely impossible. Lu Yu's eyes gradually became firm. He held the ancient bronze sword tightly in his hand, staring at the huge monster in front of him. The strange creature was still roaring, as if he wanted to kill Lu Yu and others with it. Taking a deep breath, Lu Yu raised his sword and pointed it at the strange creature. Xiao 11, lend me some strength. Okay, okay. Xiao 11 put her hand on Lu Yu's arm. In an instant, a gentle force surged into Lu Yu's body, without a trace of disharmony. Lu Yu took a deep breath, slowly, and burned his blood. As Lu Yu burned his blood, a vast and unparalleled force seemed to descend on this world. Golden blood, like a vast ocean. Between the ups and downs of the deep sea, a figure appeared. Heavy footsteps sounded from under him, causing the blood to fluctuate. The vast, ancient breath suppressed everything. Just at the moment when the figure appeared, the world seemed silent. The black fog was dissipating, and as the figure approached, it was even dissipating. The huge strange creature, as big as a mountain, showed fear in his eyes. He tried to retreat, but was clamped. The figure was still trudging in the golden ocean, but before the person arrived, a sword came first. Hidden God Sword. Lu Yu roared and raised his sword to slash. The next moment, Lu Yu's sword and the sword of the figure in the golden ocean fell on the strange creature at the same time. It seemed to penetrate through. Instantly, the body of the strange creature was split into two halves, and the golden sword light burst out. Endless black fog was directly wiped out. At the same time, there were dozens of Star-Lord level strange creatures around, as well as thousands of ordinary strange creatures. Boom! All the black fog disappeared within a radius of 10 kilometers. The world seemed to have regained clarity, and everything was bright. Lu Yu held the ancient bronze sword and spit out a mouthful of blood. A sword that burns blood. This was definitely Lu Yu's craziest move. System, how much has my blood development decreased? Reply to the host, the blood development has not decreased. The system's words made Lu Yu stunned. No, I just burned my blood. Lu Yu was puzzled. Host, it has indeed not decreased. The system's voice made Lu Yu confused. What happened? Is there a system bug? Thinking of this, Lu Yu looked at Xiao 11. But he saw that Xiao 11 had fainted at some point. Could it be that? Lu Yu was stunned when he saw Xiao 11's pale face. He looked back and saw that everyone was dead. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yun Zhonmu Shui. Chapter 584. Seeing this, Lu Yu sighed. He sighed inwardly. At least, these people have fought with themselves. Shaking his head, Lu Yu was about to go to a safe area. But suddenly he discovered that his own vitality and blood had not dissipated yet. The figure in the golden blood turned out to be the same. Even, still looking at myself. Lu Yu's head buzzed instantly. What's going on? This figure has its own consciousness. Lu Yu's eyes widened. If I remember correctly, every time I use the power of blood, this figure follows my movements. Why now? Lu Yu hugged Xiao 11 and slowly took 2 steps back. But the figure stretched out his hand. The next moment, the ancient bronze sword behind Lu Yu disappeared. I saw a figure holding a sword and slashing out in the void. The next moment, a crack appeared in the void. Then, the figure disappeared, and the ancient bronze sword fell to the ground. Seeing this, Lu Yu's expression changed. So weird. Why does the figure born after burning blood have independent consciousness? Besides, is this space crack an exit? Lu Yu looked at the crack in space, his expression changing. Do you want to come in? He glanced at the pale Xiao 11 in his arms, and then at the black mist that was approaching again. Lu Yu took a deep breath and stepped into it. No matter what is on the other side of the space rift, it is better than staying here. Chapter 0442 Beyond the Great Wall. Where are we going? No matter what is on the other side of the space rift, it is better than staying here. Lu Yu thought so in his heart, and stepped into the space crack without hesitation. Buzz. With a slight trembling sound, time and space lost their distance at this moment. The moment he stepped into the space crack, Lu Yu felt as if his body was about to be torn apart. When he opened his eyes and looked around, the world in all directions was ethereal. The entire universe was pitch black, as if there had never been any trace of living things. Traveling through the void, everything in the universe is connected between the macro and the micro. From galaxies to every planet, every inch of his gaze seemed to be clearly displayed in front of Lu Yu's eyes. Desolation was Lu Yu's only feeling. Yes, countless stars looked unexplored and lifeless. Lu Yu had never seen even the most basic low-life planets. The universe seems to be dead. Lu Yu inevitably had this thought, but he quickly reacted. No, this doesn't seem like a normal place. Lu Yu's eyes were blank. If we were in a normal universe, even some barren galaxies would not be so barren to this extent. Everything looks like it was before civilization, as if no life has been born in the entire universe. The most important thing is that Lu Yu caught something strange. There are wisps of black mist floating around. If he hadn't looked carefully, Lu Yu wouldn't have noticed it yet. Some black mist is floating in the universe. Although it is rare, it is a fact. Lu Yu noticed this and was instantly surprised. This. Is it not the universe within the Great Wall? Lu Yu was confused. If it were the universe within the Great Wall, there would be no black mist. After all, the Great Wall has not been broken yet. But here. Obviously it is the universe beyond the Great Wall. Otherwise, how to explain the existence of these black fogs? Something is wrong. Lu Yu realized the seriousness of the problem. What if what I am leading to now is not the universe inside the Great Wall, but outside the Great Wall? That's trouble. I don't even know where this space crack leads. And now, if he really went to a planet outside the Great Wall, wouldn't he be in trouble? How to go back is a problem. He couldn't tear apart the space and travel, and there was no need to think about the universe outside the Great Wall. It definitely didn't have the power of the star source. Go and die immediately. Lu Yu felt bad all over, his brows furrowed as he thought about solutions. Xiao 11 looked around curiously and couldn't help but grab Lu Yu's arm. Lu Yu, what should we do now? Seeing the girl's confused eyes, Lu Yu could only rub her head. Don't worry, it will be fine. It will be fine. By saying this, Lu Yu was consoling himself. Now, after much thought, I don't know what to do. Even if he now has the ability to interrupt space travel, he will still face the attack of void turbulence. Even if you escape the void turbulence, there is a high probability that it will be thrown to a corner of the universe outside the Great Wall. God knows where. Rather than that, it is better to continue waiting. That figure of his suddenly gained consciousness, this was indeed too weird. However, this is the figure he summoned through his divine bloodline, the original body of his own bloodline. After all, I am a person with his bloodline, and I am a direct descendant after all. There is no reason to cheat me, right? Doesn't this mean that you are depriving yourself of any descendants? Lu Yu silently comforted himself, but actually he didn't know what he was doing. Continue to observe your surroundings as time passes by. After a few hours, Lu Yu finally got tired of it. Nothing. Outside, there was dead silence. The only thing Lu Yu observed was that the black fog was getting thicker and thicker. This also meant that he and Xiao 11 were getting farther and farther away from the Great Wall. What made Lu Yu's mouth twitch was Xiao 11, this girl, actually fell asleep. Lu Yu was very suspicious that she could sleep in this situation. Was it really Xiao Ling teasing him? Of course, this thought was just a thought. After spending some time together, Lu Yu also understood. Xiao 11 and Xiao Ling looked exactly the same except for their faces. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 585. In terms of personality, they are completely different from each other, completely the opposite of Xiao Ling. But, it's better to do the other way around. Lu Yu pinched Xiao 11's face and felt a little relieved. Time passes again. A few days passed. Lu Yu hasn't closed his eyes yet. You have so much energy that you don't need to rest. What's more important is that in this situation, I can't sleep even if I want to. Looking at the darkness around him, Lu Yu looked helpless. A few days passed, and the black fog became thicker and thicker. If this situation continues, it won't be long before we can reach the level within the space rift. At that time, it will be really troublesome. Where are you taking yourself? Lu Yu frowned. He really didn't know what to do. There seems to be no turning back on this journey. If we go forward, we really don't know where we are. Xiao 11 was also looking around, and the look of fear on the little girl's face became more obvious. Lu Yu, where are we going? It's okay, I'll go back. Yeah, okay. Xiao 11 leaned on Lu Yu's shoulder and looked outside uneasily. Inside the Great Wall. Is this the result you want? In a splendid palace, Qingxiu pointed at the chief envoy and said angrily. The faces of all the defenders were extremely ugly. At the top, there is the chief town envoy and 24 town envoys. The expression of the chief envoy was also changing. He glanced at the expressionless Yu Yu below and asked. Are you sure that Lu Yu doesn't want to come out? Yes, Yu Yu replied calmly. Beside him, Ahashi Reiju looked at the chief envoy angrily. Why are you doing this? You are the executioners, you tricked us all into trapping us and killing us. It's not your turn to act bad here. The chief envoy just snorted coldly, and the next moment Ahashi Reiju vomited a mouthful of blood, and his face instantly turned pale. Qingxiu took a step forward to protect Leiju from the bridge and looked at the chief envoy coldly. When I go back, I will definitely report this matter to the adults in the Super Galaxy Cluster. Please do as you wish. The chief envoy smiled. This was originally their intention, but it's a pity. Why doesn't that little guy named Lu Yu come out? What a pity. The commander-in-chief muttered to himself, and then looked at Yu Yu. Come with me. The one who is most likely to succeed right now is you. It's a pity for that kid. With him here, maybe the chance can be a little higher. With that said, the chief envoy led the people away. In the hall, only a group of guardians were left. After everyone looked at each other, they were unwilling to leave. All the geniuses of his super galaxy cluster died here. It will definitely be a shocking event after returning. You know, those who died are all future super galaxy cluster elites. Losing one means that countless resources evaporate out of thin air. The value cannot be measured. Chiyuki also looked at Ahashi Reiju. Let's go too. Lord Qingxiu, don't worry too much. Lu Yu, I know very well that nothing will work, it's just life. Seeing Qingxiu's reddish eyes, Daikiao Leiji comforted him. Hearing this, Qingxiu forced a smile. I hope so. Let's hope. However, once you enter that kind of place, it is really difficult to get out. Qingxiu felt inexplicably sad. At the same time, in the universe outside the Great Wall filled with black mist, Lu Yu finally noticed changes. The speed of travel has slowed down. Chapter 0443 The Great Wall has been broken, this is the real Great Wall. The speed has slowed down. Lu Yu noticed this. He looked outside. The black mist blocked his sight, but fortunately with the eye of divine sight, Lu Yu could still see the situation through the black mist. Comparing the speed of the planet outside, Lu Yu came to something that made him happy and uneasy. The speed has indeed slowed down. According to the previous experience of traveling through the void, this meant that he and Xiao 11 were about to end their journey together in the void. Amidst the joy, Lu Yu was very uneasy. In the past few days, he had almost become accustomed to this endless journey through the void. It's boring, but at least it's safe. But now that he told himself to stop, Lu Yu's first reaction was, I'm afraid I'm going to be in trouble. Judging from the current progress, he and Xiao 11 were already far away from the Great Wall. Whether he can go back is still a question. Not to mention the dangers to face. This is not a safe zone inside the Great Wall, but outside the Great Wall. No one knows what is out there. In a few days, Lu Yu didn't see any danger. But just because you haven't seen it, doesn't mean you don't have it. Xiao 11 held on to Lu Yu tightly. Lu Yu, will we die? Won't. Lu Yu comforted Xiao 11. No matter how worried I was, I could only say this. Xiao 11 nodded her head when she heard this and said nothing more. Lu Yu looked outside again. Time passes slowly. 3 hours passed. He and Xiao 11 were traveling slower and slower in the void. At the same time, almost all nearby celestial bodies disappeared. In the past hour, Lu Yu has not seen any planet. He has not even seen a meteorite. In the empty universe, black fog is floating, as if it is a dead land. There is nothing. Seeing all this, Lu Yu feels a little tired. The only thing that can attract his attention is the light spots in the distance. Yes, a row of light spots. If the universe is like a piece of black paper pasted on the window. Then this row of light spots is the small holes on the black paper. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS level talents at the beginning. Author, Yoon Jeon-mu Shwe. Chapter 586. Light shines through the small hole, slightly illuminating the universe. As time went by, Lu Yu got closer and closer to those light spots. Another 3 hours passed, and Lu Yu looked at the greatly enlarged light spots with doubts in his eyes. What are these? Time passes again. 2 hours later, Lu Yu's expression gradually became one of shock. At this moment, the light spot was as big as the sun in the sky. The rows continued together, seemingly forming a line in the dark universe. Boundless. At the same time, Lu Yu's divine eye could vaguely see. Under this light, you can vaguely see blood-stained city walls. This. Am I back to the Great Wall again? Lu Yu's eyes were in disbelief. Impossible. From the beginning to the end, he was determining the direction. Although there was a possibility of losing his way, Lu Yu would never feel wrong about the general direction. He and SpecialAbilities have been staying away from the Great Wall. These thick black fog are the best proof. The black fog outside the Great Wall is not so thick. Then here, where is it? The distance is closer. In the black mist, Lu Yu could vaguely see a city wall. A black city wall that stretches to the sky. Between heaven and earth, everything seems to be cut off. Even the years cannot span the past. A sense of vastness and solemnity rose from the blood-stained city wall. When Lu Yu saw this scene, his eyes became even more shocked. This. Why is this so similar to the city wall I saw in the illusion? Time passed again, 2 hours later. Lu Yu could already see the corpses on the city wall. Every corpse was a giant among giants. The corpses lay horizontally on the Great Wall, seeming to fill the entire city. The blood flowed down and dried into black, adding a tragic color to the entire city wall. What makes Lu Yu most unbelievable is that somewhere in the mountain of corpses, Lu Yu saw a corpse standing with a gun. The head of the corpse seemed to have disappeared, leaving only the body, standing at the highest point of the city wall, stepping on the mountain of corpses, standing upright without falling. A killing intent like a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood bloomed from him. Just by looking at it, Lu Yu felt that the gun spirit in him could no longer be suppressed. The red electric gun appeared from the space wrist at some point, making a clanging sound. This. Lu Yu was stunned. Familiar. So familiar. My own 9 sky-shattering spears. Lu Yu suddenly didn't dare to think about it, let alone verify anything. Because, this is the real Great Wall. Lu Yu's breathing was slightly rapid. Is this the real Great Wall? The one at the back is not the real Great Wall at all. Lu Yu looked at the red electric gun in his hand, recalled everything he had seen and heard before, and instantly woke up. I see. I see. The Great Wall is broken. Yes, the Great Wall is broken. The real Great Wall is the Great Wall in front of you. Already broken. No more survivors. And the Great Wall at the rear, with its 24 cities, is not the real Great Wall at all. No wonder. No wonder I always felt like something was wrong in the first place. I see. This is the real Great Wall. Lu Yu's eyes suddenly flashed with light. If this is the real Great Wall, the relics of the moon god heaven are definitely here. It was almost exactly as Lu Yu imagined. The moment he took out the ancient bronze box, he felt extremely hot. The 8 characters at the bottom are emitting white light. Slowly, the ancient bronze box flew over the heads of Lu Yu and SpecialAbilities, and a ray of light fell. And at this moment, Lu Yu and SpecialAbilities finally left the void and came to the real Great Wall. Lu Yu. Xiao 11 held Lu Yu's hand tightly and looked around nervously. Lu Yu held Xiao 11's hand and was also looking at her. He and Xiao 11 had already arrived in front of the Great Wall. No matter you look up or down, you can't see the edge of the real Great Wall. In the dead silence, only the black blood stains symbolized the glory of the year. At this moment, the ancient bronze box moved. Lu Yu immediately followed with Xiao 11. The ancient bronze box flew very fast. Fortunately, Lu Yu was fast enough to keep up. About half an hour later, the ancient bronze box stopped. Lu Yu used his divine eyes to see clearly through the black fog. A huge city gate fills the field of vision. The city gate is full of traces left by various weapons, and there are several giants lying on both sides of the city gate. Lu Yu and Xiao 11 stood at the door, not even as tall as a giant's toes. This made him think inwardly. Is this the God clan? In the past, were all the gods so huge? While Lu Yu was meditating, the next moment, the ancient bronze box burst out with bright light and landed on the city gate. Crunch! An ancient sound of pushing the door sounded, and the next moment, the city gate opened in response. After running for another day, I have 2 updates for now. 1:43 a.m. The author will take a nap, tomorrow. No, it seems to have arrived. Well, normal updates will resume today. Chapter 0444, Within the Great Wall the ancient bronze sword revives. The black city gate suddenly opened. It was like a new world appeared in front of Lu Yu. Looking at the dark space inside the city gate, Lu Yu looked cautious. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 587. Go in or not. The Great Wall has been broken, and everything here is uncertain. I don't know if there are strange creatures in here. Or strange creatures that are far beyond my current realm. When Lu Yu was hesitating, the bronze ancient box moved. It returned to Lu Yu's head, and the light fell, as if protecting him. The moonlight blocked the black fog. Even the star source power that Lu Yu had originally consumed on the road was quickly restored, and so was his physical strength. Feeling the soothing feeling all over his body, Lu Yu breathed a sigh of relief. It should be fine. This city gate was opened by the bronze ancient box. With the bronze ancient box, there shouldn't be much danger. In any case, Lu Yu decided to give it a try. The relics of the moon god heaven are inside. It would be a pity if I didn't look for them. After all, I've come here. What's more, I don't even know how to go back now. If I look carefully here, I may get something else. Xiao 11, will you stay here and wait for me? No, I want to go with you. The girl immediately grabbed Lu Yu's hand, as if she was afraid that Lu Yu would abandon her here. Seeing this, Lu Yu smiled helplessly, stepped quickly, and entered the city gate. The surroundings suddenly became dark. There was no light. Lu Yu was about to use the eyes of God, and in an instant, the surroundings lit up. Balls of fire burned, illuminating everything. Lu Yu observed carefully and found that these were actually stars. Yes, they were stars that were shrunk to the extreme. Good guy. This is what the real Great Wall should have. Lu Yu looked at the stars that were used as lights and was amazed. This kind of handwriting is definitely from the gods. Wonderful. Lu Yu's heart was burning. Seeing this, Xiao 11 looked around curiously. The bronze ancient box had once again swept in front of the two of them, and Lu Yu followed without hesitation. Moving forward, it seemed that they were walking on an ancient road. The height of the ancient road did not seem to be built for those giants. At least Lu Yu did not feel that the height was out of reach. As the two moved forward, the star lamps were also lit one after another. As they walked, Lu Yu stopped. Looking at Lu Yu's star lamp, Lu Yu fell into deep thought. This thing, can I do it secretly? Take one away openly. Lu Yu did it right away and climbed over the wall. What made him happy was that it seemed to be because of the lampshade. Even though he was very close, he still did not feel the burning sensation. In the transparent lampshade, a fist-sized star was suspended in the middle, spinning. With Lu Yu's eyesight, he could even clearly see various astronomical weather on the star. For example, flares, solar prominences, etc., very magical. This is amazing. Lu Yu was very excited, but he still carefully stretched out his hand and approached a little bit. Still no pain. Lu Yu narrowed his eyes and grabbed the base. It seemed that because Lu Yu was too strong, the star suspended in the lampshade shook a little. Fortunately, it still remained stable. Seeing this, Lu Yu finally felt relieved. It's done. Got a star. Others have several houses, but I, Lu Yu, am different. Wave your hand and you will get several stars. Maybe I can take it out at a critical moment and fight against the enemy. After all, if a star hits your face, I'm afraid that even the strong men in the Return to Origin realm will have their scalps numb. Very good. Very good. Feeling happy, Lu Yu turned around and put away the other star lamps. Lu Yu, we are, not so good, Xiao 11 couldn't help but say. What's not so good? Don't you know that thrift is a traditional virtue? Lu Yu scolded, and he was already fantasizing about a better life in his heart. Imagine hanging a star lamp in the house. Anyone who comes in will probably be stunned. If it doesn't work, sell it and it will be priceless. After all, refining stars as lamps is too incredible. Lu Yu estimated that only the strong who are on the level of Tai can do it. But being able to do it is one thing, who has nothing to do with this. When the time comes, just take out a lamp, it will be worth a lot. If it doesn't work, keep it as a souvenir, it's also great. Lu Yu followed the bronze ancient box and collected the lamps along the way. Xiao 11 was reluctant at first, but later, she seemed to be fascinated by this feeling. Holding a star lamp, she looked at it curiously. Although these stars were refined to the size of a fist, their power did not decrease at all. Many celestial fluctuations are just separated by a lampshade. This dangerous beauty made the girl very happy. Time passed slowly, and an hour passed quickly. In 1 hour, Lu Yu had collected no less than 200 star lamps, which made him terrified. System, if something happens, can the system space withstand it? Host, please trust the system, there will be no problem. The system's voice was quite calm. This made Lu Yu feel relieved. Just when he was about to continue working hard to get rich, the ancient bronze box stopped moving. Lu Yu frowned. Before he could think about it, the next moment, the ancient bronze box flew over the heads of Lu Yu and Xiao 11 again. Boom! The moment the white light enveloped the two, a deep black fog spread from the front. At the same time, heavy footsteps sounded. Lu Yu put away the star lamp and looked forward. Something is coming. Lu Yu was like facing a great enemy, and Xiao 11 held Lu Yu tightly and dared not let go. The next moment, a giant appeared. This giant had lost the upper half of his body, leaving only a pair of legs and a part of his torso. Even so, it still looked extremely tall. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu. Chapter 588. Even because of this, it was even more terrifying. Black fog permeated its body, corroding everything. Lu Yu's face suddenly became ugly. Sure enough, he still ran into something. This was obviously the giant who died in the battle, and it was assimilated by the black fog. With a sigh, the bronze ancient sword appeared in Lu Yu's hand. He could feel that the strength of this dark giant was obviously extraordinary. At least above the Giwan realm. Lu Yu had no idea in his heart. Lu Yu, what should I do? Xiao 11 said. Lu Yu touched her head. I will stop it later, you run first, okay? I won't run, let's run together. Xiao 11 shook her head. Lu Yu heard this, and his eyelids twitched. I'm really, so touched. But it's really not good to give a double kill like this. Just when Lu Yu was thinking about what to do, the bronze ancient box moved. The 8 characters at the bottom suddenly burst into light and fell on the bronze ancient sword. The next moment, the bronze ancient sword, which had been motionless, was also emitting light. What made Lu Yu incredible was the bronze ancient sword voluntarily broke away from his hand. At the same time, his blood was boiling. A shadow slashed out, holding the bronze ancient sword, and slashed at the dark giant with one sword. Chapter 0445 You are the true king, divine light flashed. The bronze ancient sword revived on its own and slashed at the dark giant with one sword. Boom! At the moment of slashing, terrifying waves were spreading. The space was torn apart. Everything seemed to be non-existent. In the flying of the laws, the figure stood as if forever, without a trace of shaking. And in front, the dark giant instantly broke into 2 halves, then exploded into black mist and was wiped out. When Lu Yu saw this scene, he was stunned. The bronze ancient sword is so powerful? No, why don't I know it myself? Lu Yu was stunned, looking at the bronze ancient sword that returned to his hand. Unbelievable. Good guy. If I had known it was so powerful, I would have missed so many opportunities before. Lu Yu sighed. I had given up too much in the past because of the other party's background and strength. If I had been told earlier that the bronze ancient sword was so powerful, I would never have given them a discount. It's more like a broken bone. Feeling regretful, Lu Yu looked at Xiao 11. Xiao 11's face was dull, staring at Lu Yu in a daze. Lu Yu, you are too powerful, right? Keep a low profile, don't be so ignorant. Lu Yu smiled. Xiao 11 nodded and looked ahead. Shall we continue walking? Yes, continue walking. It's impossible not to move forward. Especially now that he knows that he has a talisman on him, Lu Yu is more confident. Following the giant of light, Lu Yu and Xiao 11 quickly moved forward. After an hour, Lu Yu looked at the black fog in front of him and narrowed his eyes. He has been walking for so long, and he hasn't arrived yet? While he was thinking about it, the bronze ancient box flew over his head again. Something is happening. Lu Yu immediately protected Xiao 11 behind him, and stared at the front. And the next moment, he breathed a sigh of relief. In front of him, there was another door. With a bang, the door opened. This time, Lu Yu could see the scene outside the door. Outside the door, it seemed to be on the wall of the Great Wall. On the top of the city, countless giant corpses fell. The black fog was filled with strange atmosphere. Lu Yu pulled Xiao 11's hand and quickly took her out of the door. Walking to the top of the city wall, Lu Yu looked up. One giant after another fell. Their bodies were more than mountains, and even if they were dead, they were still shocking. Lu Yu walked and looked, his eyes were horrified. This dead, too many. Almost filled the entire city wall. Along the way, the dried blood was tens of meters thick, which shows the cruelty of the battle that year. In addition, Lu Yu could clearly feel it. The black fog here is even thicker. Some of the corpses even began to turn black. Boom! Suddenly, the corpse next to him raised a hand and slapped Lu Yu like a shield covering the sky. The ancient bronze sword automatically protected its master again and slashed out with the sword. Swish! The giant's arm broke and fell to the ground, causing the ground to tremble. The ancient bronze sword slashed out again, causing the giant's head to fall to the ground and turn into black mist and be wiped out. After experiencing this dangerous scene again, Lu Yu became more relieved about the ancient bronze sword. With it, he should have no problem. It seemed as Lu Yu thought. Along the way, several giants eroded by black mist tried to kill Lu Yu, but they were all blocked by the ancient bronze sword. A sword slashed out, it seemed like nothing could be broken and nothing could stop it. This made Lu Yu very happy, and he stroked the ancient bronze sword with deep affection. I thought you were just bronze before, but I didn't expect you to be the real king. Ding. The ancient bronze sword made a soft sound, as if it was very dissatisfied with Lu Yu. Seeing this, Lu Yu didn't care at all. The ancient bronze sword might have some connection with the ancient bronze box. Everything was sealed, and now it's unsealed? Of course, this is all Lu Yu's guess, and it can't be accurate. Thinking in this way, Lu Yu continued to move forward. The further he went, the more corpses he saw. At the end, Lu Yu could only run on the corpses. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I'll borrow your bodies to pass through. I will definitely repay you in the future. Muttering to himself, Lu Yu rushed forward. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS level talents at the beginning. Author, Yoon Jeon-mu Shue. Chapter 589. Xiao 11 followed Lu Yu, looking at the corpse mountain in the distance, with a puzzled expression. Lu Yu, are we going there? Of course. Lu Yu nodded. The direction he was heading with Xiao 11 was the corpse mountain he saw outside the Great Wall at the beginning. Lu Yu wanted to go there for a simple reason. Take a look at that corpse. After all, his sky-breaking 9 spears came from someone else. Why not pay homage along the way? A dead horse is always a dead horse. Lu Yu looked very close, but it still took him 3 hours to reach the bottom of the corpse mountain. The next climb took even longer. Lu Yu was even attacked by a dark giant on the way. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and dodged. But even so, he fell off the corpse mountain. Without saying anything, Lu Yu gritted his teeth and went up along the previous route. Xiao 11 did not complain, and followed Lu Yu silently. Finally, after a whole day, Lu Yu finally came under the headless giant standing with a gun. Looking at this tall figure and the killing intent that was coming at him, Lu Yu wiped the sweat from his forehead. Not a loss. Experiencing the gun intent in this killing intent at such a close distance is quite beneficial to the progress of his gun skills. Taking out some of the flesh and blood of the alien beasts in the space wrist, Lu Yu worshipped on the spot. Xiao 11, I may need a little time, don't walk around, okay? Yeah, okay. Xiao 11 nodded quickly. Lu Yu said nothing more, closed his eyes, and began to comprehend this gun intent. Almost at the moment when Lu Yu closed his eyes, a picture scroll appeared in front of him. On the Great Wall, in the blood of the mountain of corpses, a golden armored figure swept across with a gun. The planet was exploding, and the void was shattered. The golden armored figure seemed to contain supreme gun intent in every move. Even if Lu Yu was just looking at the remaining picture scroll, he felt his whole body tense up. It was too amazing. Lu Yu sighed secretly. Especially when the golden armored figure rushed into the endless black fog with a gun and faced hundreds of strange creatures of the same level alone, Lu Yu couldn't help but get excited. At the end of the scroll, the ending ended with the golden armored figure sweeping away hundreds of strange creatures of the same level. Then, a rotten palm emerged from the void and crushed the head of the golden armored figure. He, the god of guns of the sun, nothing more than that. At the end of the scroll, everything dimmed. In the dim light, all the pictures disappeared. Lu Yu also gasped for air and felt very uncomfortable. Just now, when the golden armored figure died in the scroll, he actually felt that he was dead. If I hadn't reacted instantly, I would have mistakenly thought that I was dead. If the consciousness died, then it would be real death. Lu Yu was scared for a while, but before he could calm down a little, with a bang, the standing figure collapsed. Pieces of divine light rushed towards Lu Yu. Chapter 0446 Fight for Heaven, Fight for the Emperor of Man. The body of the gun-wielding figure disintegrated, turning into pieces of divine light. Before Lu Yu could react, these divine lights poured into his body. Pain. This was Lu Yu's first feeling, his whole body seemed to explode. The flesh could not bear it. At this moment, the golden blood was boiling. Countless Lorunes flashed on Lu Yu's body, and a great force appeared in his blood, smoothing everything out, reaching a level that Lu Yu could bear. A picture scroll appeared in front of Lu Yu again. In the field, the sun was high, and a little boy, holding a wooden stick, pierced the flowers and plants on the roadside like a group of demons dancing wildly. In the distance, a beautiful woman in palace dress looked at the little boy dotingly. "Tian'er, since you like guns so much, I will give you a magic gun when you join the army, okay?" "Mom, really?" The little boy heard this and immediately ran over with a wooden stick in his hand. The woman stroked the boy's head. "Of course." In the distance, a middle-aged man with a majestic look behind his back watched the scene, smiling without saying a word. The scrolls flew and time passed. A young man with a resolute face walked out of a majestic palace. And outside, the woman waited. This time, a few wrinkles appeared at the corners of her eyes. "Tian'er, how did it turn out?" "Mom, I was recruited by the Xinwu army." The young man could no longer hide his joy when he saw his relatives, and said excitedly. And the middle-aged man next to him smiled. "It's a good thing, but don't be too happy. The Xinwu army is not so easy to treat." "Dad, I know, the emperor praised my good gun skills, I will definitely win glory for the gods," said the young man. The scroll turned again. "Mom and Dad, I'm leaving soon." In a courtyard, the young man looked at the couple in front of him and said. The woman smiled happily, and the wrinkles at the corners of her eyes became more and more obvious. "Here, this is the gift that Mom promised you a long time ago." The woman took out a spear wrapped in black cloth and handed it to the young man. The young man took it and lifted the black cloth. The golden spear shone brightly in the sun, as if there was a flame burning. "Mom, is this the Golden Crow spear?" "No way, the Golden Crow clan hasn't produced one for a long time." The young man was puzzled. The middle-aged man snorted coldly. "What's wrong, your father? Am I going to deceive you with a fake?" "Ha ha ha, I'm just joking, don't be angry, I'm leaving now, I'll see you again in 100 years. The young man put the gun on his back and kowtowed to the couple. "Dad and Mom, don't worry, I will definitely show my power in the Xinwu army." "Ha ha ha, okay, Dad will wait for your good news in the Great Wall, go, a good man will never look back." After the voice fell, the scroll disappeared again. When the page was turned again, it was already a war. "The enemy is coming, all the Xinwu army listen to my orders. The Great Wall, fight to the death." The scene turned, on the boundless Great Wall. I don't know how many soldiers in armor were resisting. Outside the Great Wall, it was pitch black, the light of the starlights could not penetrate, and the whole universe seemed to have fallen into a dead silence. Only inside the Great Wall, thousands of houses were brightly lit. The war began. One giant after another rushed into the black fog with their flesh bodies, and endless light burst out. One warrior after another, fighting with strange creatures in the black fog. The most eye-catching point on the battlefield was a figure wearing golden armor. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu. Chapter 590. Sweeping thousands of armies invincible, the spear is like thunder, splitting the sky. But even so, as time passed, the Great Wall was still broken. Endless black mist poured into the Great Wall, transforming into countless strange creatures. The real massacre only began at this time. I don't know how many people on the Great Wall died tragically. The golden armored figure wanted to retreat, but was noticed. General Tianri, please don't run away from the battlefield. The figure in golden armor looked back at the Great Wall. Another figure in silver armor looked at him. I know what you are worried about, and this is our worry too, but there are solutions within the Great Wall, so please continue to hold on. War breaks out again. This time, the figure in golden armor was far crazier than before. One shot after another was thrust out, all in a life-threatening manner. Countless strange creatures were destroyed, then reunited, and then destroyed again. After going back and forth like this for a long time, even the black mist became thinner. The offensive weakened. Return to defense. Someone gave the order, and instantly everyone headed towards the Great Wall. The figure in golden armor was no exception, but after arriving in the city, all he saw was nothingness. Where home was, it was in ruins. There are not many people alive in the entire Great Wall. The Emperor has ordered us to guard the Great Wall. The second Great Wall is already on guard. The era of the eighth heaven is over. The fighting started again, and this time it was too brutal. The strange creatures that rushed out of the black mist were far stronger than before. On the other side of the endless black mist, there is a creation wave spreading, destroying everything. On this side of the Great Wall, countless figures are also fighting for their lives. The eighth heaven is immortal. Fight for heaven. Fight for the human emperor. Kill. Countless gods and men rushed into the black mist, and there was even a figure in golden armor guarding the Great Wall. I don't know how long this period of time has passed. The armor was shattered and the divine weapons were broken. Until the Great Wall was covered with blood and buried under a mountain of corpses. In the endless black mist, the most brilliant light burst out. Countless gods raised their heads and looked outside the Great Wall. There, a figure shrouded in golden light and reaching the sky and the earth was disintegrating. And the eighth era, the last living beings who are stubbornly resisting, the new world is coming soon. Everything fell into darkness. It seemed like tens of thousands of years had passed, and when the scroll was opened again, there was only a dead mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Fight for the heavenly court, fight for the human emperor. A voice echoed faintly in Lu Yu's ears. A normal scene appeared in front of Lu Yu's eyes. Lu Yu, why are you crying? Xiao 11 stared at Lu Yu, worried. When Lu Yu heard this, he was stunned and touched the corners of his eyes. There were indeed tears there. What happened to you just now? You suddenly became so scary, Xiao 11 said. Lu Yu shook his head. No, I'm fine. Fine. Lu Yu didn't know if he was okay. What I just saw should be everything recorded by this body, right? Have you read everything from the perspective of Tianri Divine General? Lu Yu was in a daze, still immersed in the scene just now. The eighth heaven, the human emperor, the new world. What does all of this mean? The amount of information was too great, and Lu Yu couldn't accept it for a while. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Great Saint level marksmanship proficiency. Ding. Congratulations to the host for reaching the 9th level of Tianyuan. System sounds sounded one after another. This made Lu Yu stunned on the spot. Dash, this is a dividing line. There are 2 more updates on the way. Chapter 0447 The Confused Lu Yu, Reality or Hallucination. Lu Yu was stunned on the spot. What's going on? Did you directly improve so much? The realm has reached the 9th level of Tianyuan. I'll go. This is too fast. Lu Yu was pleasantly surprised. Xiao 11 nodded. That's right, you've just gone up to a higher level. It seems like there's no obstruction at all. Xiao 11's eyes were full of envy. Lu Yu quickly accepted this. Those divine lights may not only carry memories. Most likely there is some cultivation in it. This can be understood by oneself. It is the same as the transfer of skills in martial arts novels. It's just that when others teach their skills, they become peerless masters overnight. I haven't even risen to this big realm yet. Doubtful in his heart, Lu Yu thought of something else. System, Great Saint level marksmanship proficiency, what does it mean? Host, with proficiency in marksmanship, after entering the Saint level, you will be at the Saint level, and after reaching the Saint level, you will be at the Great Saint level. The system quickly explained, which made Lu Yu understand. To put it simply, it means that I now have a Great Saint level weapon proficiency. And if I remember correctly, I don't seem to have a weapon with holy level proficiency. Hey guys, this works. Jump 2 levels directly. Lu Yu became satisfied. Just thinking about it, he thought of something else. What I just saw in the scroll. Lu Yu frowned and thought deeply. What is the meaning behind these things? The 8th heaven. What's the meaning? Are there 7th and 6th heavens ahead? Lu Yu's eyes became blank. So according to this, what is the situation of the moon god heaven? In addition, the human emperor,